Welcome to the CEN show, place where you can learn from the world community. I'm your host, I'm your regular host, Raski Mascani. This evening, we have a guest host that's been here 3 times already. Every time she comes on, it's an excellent, excellent show. So
Thank
we're looking
you.
forward to another excellent show. I'm going to introduce the panel. So our guest host is Dr. Shari Randolph,
Good evening.
and the featured guest, I'm going to let her introduce her. So we have Cleo King here. We got Brother Hembrick. We have Brother Machinda. We have Sister Linda here. We got Miss Marquette. And we got Brother Chawara. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Randolph. Dr. Randolph, let's go.
Let's go. Thank you, Brother Rashiki. And I'm very glad to be here again tonight. And I'm very excited about the guest that we have. Our guest tonight is a global energy healer, Kyle Odom, Michigan. Kyle has a degree in business management from the University of Michigan. She's worked in corporate America for over 25 years. Kyle is divorced and the mother of a son. She is the grandmother, and this part I love because my grandmother loved me just like this. She's the grandmother of a granddaughter who is the love of her life. Her mission and passion is helping people through their life's journey. She supports them as a Reiki energy practitioner, a psychic medium, a quantum frequency healer, and she taps into spirit to receive direction for her patron. She's been on this journey for more than 20 years. And I can tell you, last week I had a session with her, and I encourage you all to listen attentively and make a choice, because when you're open to ways of healing, more ways of healing introduce themselves to your life. So we're all on this journey. I believe everyone on the call tonight is a person that's looking for healing. And what I was excited about, my session was over the phone. So we're used to a one-on-one healing being in person, but so just stay open and she'll tell you about her services later. But right now, today, Kyle Odom, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to share my story and to share how healing energy can be. In our society, we've only been exposed to synthetic medicine, at least in my age group. These millenniums are really getting more exposed to different methods of healing. But everything is energy, like our clothes are energy, we're made up of energy, everything around us is energy. And what I've been taught is how to tap into that energy to help people heal. And it's so beneficial because we can even heal ourselves. If we're open to it, we can actually heal ourselves, because that's how I started. I got trained in doing Reiki, and then I started working on myself. So like if I got a headache, I knew how I could I can put my hands together and just say in my mind, I want the energy to flow. And then you can just, once you become confident in it, then you can just pull your hands apart a little bit, and you can even feel like a staticky sensation in between your hands. And that's the energy that you could like put on your forehead if you have a headache. So, this society doesn't want us to know those kind of things, and to show us how powerful we are. All of us were created to be powerful. We need to start believing that about ourselves, and especially people of color. When we came across the ocean from Africa, there wasn't anybody in Africa that could go to the doctor and get a prescription. That's something that's happened in this culture. So for us to be able to tap into what our ancestors have had for years, that we can utilize that in our lives. And just like Dr. Shari said, you don't need to do this in person. You just have to, I told Dr. Shari, you just need to be open to receive.
Yes.
take some deep breaths, and I start sending that energy to her because I can sense where she has blockages. Now I have tools that I use. So I brought, like, I have crystals that I use. And this is also things that are energy. And using these and then saying in my mind, okay, I'm sending this energy, for instance, to Dr. Shari. And once she says that she's open, and then I can just send that. And I mean, it's sort of unbelievable because we've never been taught those kind of things, that I can just say, send the energy to her and it'll go to her. Now,
Yes.
the only thing that's different, if I had somebody in person, I would actually just hover my hands over that person's body and I could feel where there was a blockage. And then I would just lay my hands on that area until I felt a flow of energy. And I do that for the entire body. And it's so relaxing. It's almost like having a massage, but not having a massage because you're just so relaxed after you have a session.
Yes. Can you explain to the audience what Reiki energy is? Like, what is it? Define it for us.
So it's a Asian practice that's been in existence for hundreds of years. And so there's different signs in Reiki that will signal certain types of energy that you can use to be healed. And even though I say I'm a Reiki practitioner because that's what people mostly hear about, you can tap into the energy of the sun, you can tap into the energy of the moon. So when you're tapping into the sun energy, because you just imagine about how much energy comes from the sun to heat up the earth, you can tap into that. And if you want to release things or get rid of things, sun is the direction that you would want to go in. And then you could tap into moon to create, to bring things into your life that you want. And it's all about setting an intention. So when you set an intention, it just means that, okay, I want to set an intention that if I'm suffering from high blood pressures, for instance, that I want to be healed. So that's what you're putting out into the universe. And the universe gives us back what we need. We just have to trust it. So anytime you're dealing with Reiki or any kind of energy healing, that's the beginning of setting an intention and putting it out into the universe, give us what we have, then our life can be so much more fruitful.
Yes. Now, can you explain to us the part of you that is the psychic medium?
Well, just like, people call God the creator, spirit, but I tap into that to just get messages. So even when I'm working on somebody doing energy work, I always hear messages from the creator for that person. And even when the person is getting worked on, I tell them, pay attention to any thoughts that might come into your mind because there's no coincidence to that. And then once you do that, then we can discuss that because the creator has so much love for all of us. And if we can believe in that versus reaching out to another individual, quiet and be open, you can get a lot of messages from your creator. And that it's effortless. We just have to be open. So when I do medium readings or psychic readings, I use that. Plus I do oracle and tarot cards. And so with oracle and tarot, you shuffle the cards. While you're shuffling the cards, I'm saying in my mind, Spirit, what do you have for that person? And then after I shuffle the cards, I love it when I shuffle and there's a jumper which means like a card will just actually jump out. And I'm telling you, I have never been off because it's not really me. I'm just the channel that spirit is using for any cards that come up for that person. And then I read what they explain and what they mean for that individual. And I'll ask the person, I mean, does this resonate with you? And
Yes,
especially when I do past, present, and future. So the future
that's
might not resonate with someone, but just to be open and say, oh, okay, this is what I have to look forward to.
well, when you asked me, did it resonate with me? And I told you 100%. And so even the future resonated with me because I'm doing work constantly, working on myself to be open to healing, open to receiving. And I felt a great sense of satisfaction and confirmation. So the reading that I had it was just a great sense and overwhelming sense of satisfaction and confirmation. And now tell us about quantum frequency healing.
Well, I have a device, it's called a Healy device, and it's just another tool or instrument to use to help people get healed. With the quantum Healy device, I actually have an app. And so one of my clients can say, you know, I've been having a lot of back pain lately. So I can actually go into my app, type in back pain, and it'll show me all the programs that I can run for that individual. And it's not a one and done kind of treatment. This has to be something ongoing, just like everybody's journey, you know, especially people of color, you know, the conditions that we came here in this country has created us to have thoughts about ourselves that are not true. And when you go on a spiritual journey, you can actually release and get rid of some of those self-talk things that we say to ourselves that are not productive, that are non-productive or detrimental, because all of us have experienced some kind of trauma in our life. So just to be open and know that this is not how we were created. And if we are open to do this spiritual journey and do the work, because it is work, but the work that we do is just not for us, because we have trauma and stuff that we that doesn't allow us to be our authentic selves 7 generations behind us and 7 generations ahead of us. So when we do the work, we're getting rid of ancestral stuff so that the generations to come won't have to deal with some things that our ancestors have passed on to us. And then doing 7 years ahead of us, then we're doing for our offsprings that they will be able to take our, you know, families to the next level.
Yes, and I've learned so the 7 generations of blood is inside of us. And are you telling us that everyone can be healed from the trauma?
Yes. And
Yes.
it's like, you know, there's some trauma that, you know, it's like on the surface trauma, you know, like it's like, oh, okay, you know, because we get trauma from ancestral trauma, we get trauma from our parents, we get trauma from just living here on this earth, we get trauma from friends, and, you know, so the things that are on the surface are where you start. And then the more you do it, the deeper that you can get.
Like the layers peeling off the onion. So we go
Yes.
deeper and deeper. Now
Yes.
tell us about tapping into spirit. So one thing I can say, growing up in a Pentecostal church, a lot of people laid hands on us a lot and anointed our head with oil and prophesied to us and told us that, you know, cards were sin, um, all different types of healing modalities that I've learned as an adult. They told us it was wrong and a sin growing up in the Christian Pentecostal church. And so I would say some of my friends are afraid of practicing different modalities. And then you say, well, you tap into spirit to receive direction. So please explain that to us.
Well, I mean, because I used to be into Christianity for years. I just opened myself up to maybe looking at things differently, probably in the last 20 years. And so if people believe that God or the creator is the creator of all things, all means everything. That you can't slice and dice and say, oh, God did create this, but homosexuality is not good, or um, all the
Or
sins.
that God
Because
didn't create that.
yeah, because it's like God created everything, and God knew everything that was to come, and so if, even like when they talk about when people are sinners, sin, if you look it up in the, it means to miss the mark. What we do is a behavior thing. It's not who we are. It's a behavior based on whatever our life experiences have been or whatever trauma we have experienced. But all of us are sinless. Is that when we start doing the work and going on that spiritual journey, then we can see more and more what our authentic selves are. So when I have Christians talk to me about, and people are still, you're open to have a choice and believe what you want to believe, but all means everything.
Yes. And I study metaphysics because their sin is only you forgetting that you were made whole, perfect, and complete, that all of us are our own little piece of God. So when people say I am God, they are saying I will say I am God manifesting as Dr. Shari Randolph. So everyone has that piece of God in them of who they are to express who they are. And if you forget who you are, you may fake and act like something else, but I think that causes a lot of illness and disease. That's just my 2 cents. But
But
is there something that you can do with the group tonight that we could possibly practice a healing
sure,
modality?
sure. So then, and I just want to, on the tail end of what you said, disease is dis-ease. So anytime we don't deal with some of the things that we need healing from, they're going to manifest in our body. So that's why it's so important for us to do the work to get rid of some of that dis-ease in our body, because it doesn't just dissipate up in the air. It's going to manifest in our bodies. And I mean, especially when you start looking at a race. So with people of color, it's prominent that high blood pressure is in the lives of people of color. But I think it's because the way that we deal with our trauma and it manifests. But we can get rid of high blood pressure if we do the work, and we can do it on a spiritual, on a herbal level, and it doesn't need to be us going to the doctor taking medication that might have a side effect from some other medication you're taking. So
Right.
I just wanted to say that.
And
So
so
what, go ahead.
before we do the healing modality, I wanted to bring Rashiki back in. He can poll everyone on the call and see if they have any questions first, and see if they're open to having some healing treatment tonight.
Okay, that would be great.
Rashiki?
Well, what we could do is, if you don't want to practice the energy healing this evening, just raise your hand, and well, I mean, they'll participate if they want to. Let's just do it that
Okay.
way. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So she could go ahead, and anybody that oppose, they could just not do it. They could just listen.
Okay.
So does anybody have any questions before we get started?
Okay, I could go around. Okay, Professor Ra.
Appreciate what you have been saying, if I understand it correctly. How long have you been doing this?
I started to doing this type of work. I started back in 2017, but even when I was in religion, I was very spiritual. And I always had spiritual counseling that I did with people, but this type of healing since 2016, 2017.
So between 8 and 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, how did you get introduced to it? Or did someone heal you, or?
Well,
did-
so I have one son, and back in 2016, 2017, he got convicted of, and he's serving 19 and a half years. So that was really hard for me to have my only child. And I mean, that's not the kind of upbringing he had. And he got convicted of a meth ring connected with the Mexican mafia. And then right on the heels of that, I got defrauded. So it's a pretty dark time for me. And I knew that I needed to do something to get me out of that dark place, and started just researching and looking. And the universe, I mean, even I was on Facebook, and on my feed was this place where I could go for $5 and get meditation for $5. And I said, you know, since I was defrauded, I was really trying to conserve my money that I was spending. And I went out there, and one of the ladies that led the meditation saw that I had a gift in spiritual healing and took me under her wing, and the rest is history.
So is spiritual healing different from energy healing, or they interact?
Because you're tapping into spirit or
So
the universe.
healing in spirit is the same. Energy healing in spirit is the same.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Because spirit is the creator of all things.
okay. When is there a network of energy healers, or an association that y'all have conventions or conferences or study groups?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, Kalamazoo is a college town, but you can go anywhere and Google spirit fairs, and they're all over the country.
No, I'm talking about like a national association or annual conference.
No, they're not that structured.
Okay. Now, the other question is that, what's wrong? Okay, you said, you know, so what role does faith have in healing? You have to have a spiritual faith, or?
Well, I mean, it's all, you know, it's a play with words. I think faith and setting an intention is the same thing. It's just, I'm just using a different word, because in order for me to set an intention, I have to have the faith that something is going to manifest from whatever intention I have set. So I think it's just a play with words.
Is it correct to say that Reiki is a type of healing for anxiety, or like headaches, or like things, but it don't heal broken bones and things of that nature?
You can use it for anything.
Broken bones?
Like you said, this whole faith thing. So if I have the faith, or I can set an intention, because I have seen people get healed of cancer with using these kind of modalities. So it's all about what you're open for.
Okay.
So there's no limits. It's limitless.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Professor Rock. Earlene, you have any questions? Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, this is Demita, Miss Morris. Any question?
No, I joined late, so I'm just still trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My apologies.
Okay. That's fine. Mrs. King.
No, I don't have anything to my is my sister, just so you know. But no, I don't have any questions. All the questions that were just asked were very helpful. And I love hearing intention and faith because you know we Black people want to know, honey. Now listen, what's going on? How much can you heal? How much can you do? What's it going to be? And when you hear intention and faith, then we can do it. Like then we know, okay, we're going to do this thing. Okay, right. So I love the questions. I thought those were great questions. And I have also had a reading here, and it was very healing for me as well. So I have I got a reading from her New Year's Eve, and it was spot on, as the folks say. So for me, it's very powerful because I already believe in it. Because, like Dr. Shari, I wanted to experience it myself. And I'm not one to seek out this kind of stuff. You know, I'm old school. I always go for the medication. You know, I'm in the line getting the medicine, getting the medicine, getting the medicine. So, it's all new to us brown people. It is. And it's like, why not? So we we believe in that faith. We believe in that faith. But then when you talk about other stuff, Dr. Shari's like, when you were young, you didn't, they were telling you that stuff was wrong and that stuff. So this is great. I believe we can all tap into it. I do, just like she said, that Kyle said, we can all, it's energy. We can all tap into it. So I'm really excited to be here tonight. And I'm really happy to see what work we do because it worked for me before. So thanks.
Can I
Thank you.
interject for a second?
Yes.
I just want you to know. So I'll be 69, I think, this year. I am on no over-the-counter medications at all.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that I don't have stuff that I'm dealing with, but I have used other herbs and things to get healed because I had been struggling with high blood pressure. But I have a Native American friend that gave me some tea, and that has taken care of my problems. So I just wanted to put that in there too.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Tanya. Tanya Bellamy, you have any questions? You have to unmute.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. I don't have any questions. This is my sister, and she has helped me with a lot of healing already.
Excellent.
So I'm not new to this. I'm true to this now.
Okay.
That's excellent. Brother Hembrick.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I don't have any questions really, but I just wanted to mention what I do for me in this regard. I'm into the Netaru totally, nature, the sun and the moon. And whenever the sun is out, I'm out there sitting in it. I'm a believer in the chakras inside and outside of our body. How the sun through our melanin, through the pineal gland, that whole thing. And I want to know if the sister into any of that, and does that play into any of the healing processes that she's talking about and what she teaches?
When you mentioned chakras, I didn't even think about that, but when I'm working on individuals, we have many chakras in Asian customs. They call them acupuncture points, but they're really different points in our body that are chakras, but we have 7 main ones. And so when I'm doing energy work on clients, a lot of times I will work on their chakras and make sure that they're balanced, because life experience, all of us, our chakras are going to be off at one time or another just because we live here on this earth. So it's an ongoing thing on just being able to balance people's chakras. And usually, like, for instance, your throat chakra is normally blocked. if you don't speak your truth. You know, your third eye could be off because you're struggle with anxiety and you're trying to figure out what's going to happen in the future. So it's an ongoing process on balancing people's chakras just because we live here in life and have to deal with things.
Well, I've only been into it the last couple of years, and it's more and more revealing to me as more, the more I do it. And I believe in that balance that we must maintain. And another question I have, how big of a thing, would you say that melanin plays in the stuff that you're doing? Us as African people that have large quantities when others do not.
Well, I think, just based on, because, we're all connected. All of us are human beings. But because we're in this world, there's certain things that people of color are going to deal with that Caucasians are not going to deal with. So, and just the way we came here to this country, I'm going to give a plug. Everybody needs to go see the movie The Origin, because it really sheds light on what we're dealing with is not racism. It's a caste thing and how we got here. And it just opens up your eyes to start thinking about what our ancestors went through to even get us here. Only the strong survived. And for us to realize that the people that brought us here, that got us here, how strong they were, and that's still in us. And we need to start operating from those places.
Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let me move on. Marquette? Marquette, do you have a question?
No, this is my not I've heard about Reiki and chakra and but this is my first time listening. I'm very open into learning to balance my own self and learn how to use energy to heal myself and move forward in life.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for
Absolutely.
attending. Who's that, Mr. Randolph? Dr. Randolph?
I think there's someone else. You
No,
can keep
no,
going.
you had mentioned something.
No, I said that's wonderful. We're going to have a
Okay.
chance to experience this evening.
Okay,
But I wanted you to finish the panel.
okay, we have about 4 more left. Brother
Okay.
Mashenda?
Yeah, I just want to welcome the guest tonight, and appreciate her presentation, and also can appreciate her sharing the story of her taking her power back and understanding how to do self-care and self-control without depending on the outside world in terms of the Western allopathic medicines and things like that. There's a lot of skeptics in the world, especially in the world we live in this Western world that we live in. And, the African and Eastern schools of thoughts, are sometimes frowned upon, or people are just indoctrinated into other methods and therefore miss the boat altogether. So I can just appreciate her talking about the different methods as it relates to energy healing, and as leading up to a good mental well-being, and bringing us into our equilibrium, like Brother Hembrick said, Mayat, adding balance to our lives, and we all have that capability. And I think the sister is trying to let us know tonight, remind us that, hey, we can bring ourselves back into balance. And, I appreciate you sharing when we get done this, making our comments. look forward to you, sharing, an example of what you're talking about. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, thank you. Sister Linda?
Oh, yes. I don't really have questions because I really want to hear exactly what what she's going to say. But I want to ask her just two things. Metaphysics, I've been studying a lot myself, and I've read of Louise Hay and Michael Beckwith, and that's different cultures. So I'm just trying to figure out and hear exactly what you want to say, what you're going to tell us.
Well, Michael Beckwith was one of the people that when I was in that dark place, I was just really searching for something to get me out of that place that I was in. And Michael Beckwith had a quote that said, "Pain will push you till your destiny pulls you." And when I first heard that, because I was in a lot of pain, I said, that's some BS. But then I had a better understanding that, when we're comfortable and there's not a whole lot of growth going on. But when there's pressure applied, which could be pain, and I mean, when you think about it, the earth was created under pressure. So anytime we're under pressure, if we have the correct outlook on that pain, we can grow exponentially out of that. Because when we're comfortable, we're not doing a whole lot of growing because we're comfortable.
True.
Okay. Okay,
Definitely
thanks.
true. That's true.
Okay, thanks, Linda. Jason? Jason, you want to unmute or you have a question? Okay, I'll come back later. Brother Chiwara?
Yes. How are you today, this evening?
Wonderful.
Good.
Positive vibrations to everyone.
Thank you.
It is very interesting. I had a friend of mine was a Reiki master, and she taught me some stuff as a Reiki, and I've gotten some books, and a lot of times I use it on myself. What I've discovered, and I just want to say something, I want you to give me your take on it, the guest here. Ancestors and the energy that is responsible for all things, that created all things, and ancestors. What I've discovered is that within our mortal self, because we're all in our mortal persona at this time, but at the same time, we're still connected to the immortal essence of ourselves, which is this energy. And in regards to ancestors, we as a people have to begin to redefine that very term and go beyond mortality to immortality, which brings us to this particular energy that governs the Reiki. Mm-hmm. Whereas the energy itself, undifferentiated, subjective, is our first ancestor and is immortal, eternal, everlasting. So I feel within my soul that this is the connection that we experience, and I'm so happy that the sisters come here now to show that we can be healed and we can heal ourselves and each other through tapping into our immortal connection to our greatest ancestor, which your
Brother Chiwara, we didn't hear that. Repeat it, please, the last 10 seconds.
The last 10 seconds, I wasn't Okay.
Well, you were out for a few seconds, so I wanted you to
Okay.
repeat that.
Well, what I'm saying essentially is that because we are mortals right now, and we have been through this ringer, this prism called life, we have been disconnected from our immortality, which is this energy that the sister spoke of earlier that is responsible for creation and creating all things. This energy being subjective and undifferentiated is our mortal aspect, and tapping into that energy, which is our first ancestor, because out of that energy that cannot be created or destroyed came all things that we now understand and see within this mortal consciousness of ourselves. So, and I'm happy that the sister is introducing Reiki as an energy connection where we can heal ourselves on one hand, and we can also heal each other. Well, so within that, I'd like to ask the sister, could you give me your insight on what I've just said? You know, because I believe wholeheartedly that our ancestors is beyond our mortal ancestors. And we have to redefine what that term ancestor really means, because the sun is our ancestor, and the waters, the streams, and the hills, and the valleys, and the rocks, and the stones, and every insect, and every bird, and even the breath that we inhale and exhale is our ancestor. So I'd just like you to connect that to Reiki and give me your insight on everything I've just said. Thank you, my sister. Peace and love. God bless you, and positive vibration.
Thank you. Oh, you said a mouthful, so I'm gonna see what I can do with all of that. But I mean, it's like, you know, all of this creation, this earth, everything in it, it's all connected. It's like, that's why when we go outside with no shoes on and get grounded, everything that's here was really for us, for all of us. And that all of it is energy. And once we like take off those rose-colored glasses and quit trying to put things in boxes and define it as a certain thing, and just be open to what the universe has for us, then life could be so different.
Okay. So Jason, I see you here now.
He's there.
Okay, Jason.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for letting me be here. And I just want to say, the guy that just spoke, respect to what he's talking about, because that's something that is so important. I believe it originally as well. Energy is our first ancestor, and through that, our other ancestors, we're all connected through that line, and we can tap into those lines. Also, when she was talking about the chakras, it's really important. Found it interesting when she was talking about anxiety and the third eye, because I find that very true. I think working through your chakras and understanding your energy lines and understanding where there's blockages, I think it takes time. I think we all should be doing dream work, because we sleep a lot of our lives, and most people don't do dream work. And there's so much that happens in your dreams. And a lot of us, we have the ability to will things in our dreams, which then in turn is also our intention in reality and our present awakening. And I think it's really important that we tap into both. There is this, when you guys were talking about earlier about spirit and how it has alignment with our life and our understanding. To me personally, I feel that spirit is our divine connection that we've always been tapped into. Some people get severed, like you were saying, and we forget that we've always been connected. We never have not been connected. It's the idea that we place in our concept of our mind, or construct, however you want to rephrase it, that we get lost in it. But yet we are still connected truly by our divine grounding. And I think this is a great avenue. When you're talking about having no pills at all, I think that's beautiful. And I wish more of our African American culture understood that, because yes, Reiki is a beautiful way of moving through things, as well as our diet, as well as what we put in, what we digest emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of the aspects of what we digest. I think it's really important to have a clear space of where we're coming from, and that all aligns, for me at least, is with my integrity. I look to, where's my integrity lie, and when do I call it my first mind? When is my first mind moving forward, and when is my second mind coming in, where ego and other things lie? and how am I trusting my intuition, or am I falling off and having other spaces of fear connotation come into it? But yeah, I just say, I really enjoy conversations. I wish more people had these conversations. I think this is something that needs to be had in all cultures, because to me, it's how we're connected as humans. But yeah, I just want to say grateful to be here. I'm actually in Vegas right now on a job, but I had to come here and say hi to everybody because it's just
Yes.
I really value and respect Dr. Sherry, Miss Cleo.
Appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you coming, Jason. And just for the panel, we can invite Jason as a future guest and he can talk about what he does. But I'm from listening to the comments and the questions, Rashiki, I feel that people are open. People are open to healing. People are open to connecting and having this experience that we're about to experience with Kyle.
And it just makes it, I just love hearing, that, because we've been taught a lot of things that are not true. And for us to come in, and everybody's truth is different. So, Dr. Sherry's truth might look different than my truth, and my truth might look different than Cleo's truth. But for us to just be open to whatever our truths are, and like there's just so much out there that's untapped, that's just waiting for us to tap into it, so that we can walk in some freedoms that we haven't walked in the past. It's there waiting for us.
Can I say something, please?
Sure.
Please.
Okay, let me just say something. It's an excellent thing that we do here, and every time Dr. Sherry come on, we just have it's just wonderful. I can't express how grateful I am. And if you guys knew Professor Amin Ra, he's one of the. I mean, you talking about spiritual healing? He said something to me so many years ago that it set me on this course that I'm on now. And you guys, and I just want to say this. Professor Ross said, don't let your oppressor be your teacher. And this is what we have been experiencing basically all of our lives. We've been learning from a source that's trying to oppress us. So if we can just start with that, people that needs healing, if you can start just getting rid of this oppressor's thought process, I think that's you're on your way to super energy healing. I just wanted to say that. Okay, carry on.
That's 100%. So now what do you want us to do, Kyle?
Okay, so this is going to be real simple. Nobody needs to work at anything. It's all, I explained to the kids that I used to counsel, it's like download music on your phone. The phone doesn't have to work to get the download. It just needs to be open to receive. So that's all everybody has to do tonight. And then just say to yourself, I'm open to receive. Take 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes, because that's better, being in a place where you're comfortable. Close your eyes so that you're not distracted to what's going on here. And then we'll do that for about 5 minutes. And I'll work on everybody while during that 5 minutes. And then just pay attention. Some people might feel a sensation in their body. Some people might see colors. Some people might actually get some messages from spirit, because that's really, we're tapping into spirit, and spirit is using me as a channel to send the energy out to everybody. And then your job is to be open to receive, and that's it. Okay?
Yes.
You had froze.
I froze.
Well, second.
So I just said everybody just needs to be open to receive. That's your job.
Yes.
And I'll work on you for 5 minutes. And after the 5 minutes, I'll bring everybody back in and we can, if anybody's got any questions or anything that you want to share, if I get anything, I can share it. So the first thing I need for everybody to do is say in your mind, I'm open to receive.
I'm open to receive.
And you might want, you know, and I said to say, but you don't even need to say it. You can even say it in your mind, but saying it out loud is good too. There's no wrong way to do this. And then everybody might want to mute themselves so you're not hearing each other breathe and all of that, so it's not distractive. So now I just need everybody to take 3 deep breaths, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Okay, I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. Just relax, close your eyes, and we'll get to work. All righty, everybody. How's everybody feeling?
Wonderful.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling fine.
Yes.
So, I don't know how much time we have, Dr. Shari, but I did get a couple of messages. Somebody's been dealing with heartburn, and it's because somebody did hurt you, but you haven't released them. You've been holding on to whatever they did to you. And I heard Spirit say you need to let it go. It's Spirit's job to deal with that person. And that what they did was not right, but that's not your job to hold on to it. Spirit will take care of it. And then I sent somebody with headaches and to get some peppermint oil to start rubbing it on your temples, along with what would they call carrier oil, which could be like coconut oil, or I use coconut oil raw, or olive oil, and shake a little bit of peppermint oil and rub your temples with it. And then just apply your hands like this to it. Mm-hmm. And the energy from your hands will help remove those headaches. So that's what I got.
Okay. Is she talking to anyone that has a question?
I'm feeling immortal.
Wonderful.
I'm
Immortal is a
feeling
good
good.
feeling. What'd you say, Marquette?
I'm feeling like peace. I'm feeling some peace.
Oh, that's good. That's
good. But that just shows you, this is all done over the computer. You don't need to be in the presence of someone. Energy is everywhere. You just have to be able to tap into it. And you can do that for yourself. I'm a big YouTuber, so you can go on YouTube and find a lot of things connected to using energy to heal yourself. And not that I'm trying to take business away from myself, but I want to empower people. Whenever I work on someone, I always give them a tool to use, so that once the session is done with me, doesn't mean that their healing can't continue.
Go right ahead.
The sister that said she's feeling peace. While we were doing what we were doing, my main focus was peace. And the reason why I was focusing, there's a hand sign, the hand sign that they use for peace, that they like your ring, your middle finger and your index finger is like open in a V shape.
Yes.
What I discovered, and my granddaughter taught me this. One day she said to me, she said, "Papa, this means peace." And it's the same position with the V, but it's with the index finger and the middle finger standing together. And that is our ancient Kemetic symbol for peace, hand signal for peace. While the V is war. And my granddaughter taught me that about 2 days ago. And I had not known that. And so after the session that we just did, and the sister said peace, this was what I had my right hand and my left hand focused in that peace symbol that my granddaughter showed me. My right hand on my right leg, my left hand on my left leg, and the two fingers of both hands touching each other. And when she said peace, I could feel that. The more we practice this type of thing, the more we become what we practice. And this is what I'm saying when I'm talking about ancestors. So the work you're doing is so important. Other type of works like this that others are doing, is so important because our people need to understand that we need to develop a new thought process and reconnect to our true energy, our true creator. So I want to say God bless.
Well, that's wonderful. And then even just setting, setting an intention when you start doing this kind of work, like for this like 5 minutes, if at the beginning someone could say, I'm struggling with anxiety. So what I want to give from this is that my anxiety goes away or lessens, or I feel more peace. And then just see, once you do it, is that the results that you're getting? And then you'll start seeing how powerful you are. We are powerful beings.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm gonna definitely take that peppermint oil and coconut oil and rub it on my temples, because I have been suffering with some bad allergy migraines for the past 3 or 4 days. I'm like, every time I get up, I'm like, wow, what's going on? I have to pop in migraine pills. And I don't like popping pills. I'm glad. Thank you, sister, for telling me about the peppermint oil and the coconut oil. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
That spirit knew that you were struggling. And I just tapped in.
I've been over here struggling with these bad migraines for the past 3 or 4 days. I was like, man, I'm gonna show you that tonight before I go to bed.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
good.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had a quick question. How do you spell this Reiki?
Reiki.
Reiki?
Yes.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's so many energy sources out there. Reiki is just one of them. There's many.
And I just want to mention to Brother Jason, if he's still on, man, every time I sit out in the sun and meditate, I've been dreaming my butt off. So many dreams. I mean, it's just, I'm dreaming more in my life than I ever have.
Can you try something for me?
Sure.
I'm sorry. In your dream, when you're dreaming, if you can shift your focus back to something you're already looking at, the easiest way to do it is look at your hand in your dream, look up, and then look back down at your hand. Because if you can do that, then you start being able to intend in your dreams. Does that make sense?
Okay, Jason, repeat that process. Give us the system of paying attention in our dream.
The easiest way to pull your focus is to look down at your hand in your dream. Be conscious enough. First, you got to be conscious enough in your dreams to be walking or whatever you're doing. I don't know what dreams are dreams. But it's truly. But look down at your hand, then look up at whatever you were, wherever you are, and then look back down at your hand. It's one of the first, if you can get to that control, then you start being able to walk and intend your dreams. And our dreams to me are gateways to traumas that have been from our past, from our ancestors, or from our current life, whatever it may be. And when we have the ability to work in that space, it allows for things to then come up when we're awake. And so you're able to, I would say, process things from a different perspective. That's not how whenever you had trauma or triggered, wherever that comes from, you have the ability to look at it from a different perspective. So you're not judging it from the past of whoever you were, but who you are now.
And something, Jason, I'm glad you brought that up, because when you were talking before, I had thought it and then I lost it. This is not energy work per se, but I have used different modalities for healing other than just energy. And so I don't know if anybody's heard about ketamine. Ketamine will allow you to be conscious and go from 3D to 5D if you're open to it, which is like 5D is dream state, but you can be conscious and not in a sleep state.
So let's say if we wanted to do a session with Kyle, How would we do that if we wanted to do it?
Well, you could just, I'll share my contact information and you can call me. And with Dr. Shari, you know, we did it over the phone, but we can do FaceTime, we can do Zoom. And really, I've even done energy and quantum frequency work, and I've just text the person and say, take 3 deep breaths, say you're open to receive, and then I call them when I'm done. And they've still got results from it. So I can just share my contact information. People can reach out to me, and we can go from there.
Will you share it in the chat so everybody can grab it?
Okay, sure.
I want to thank everyone for their collective consciousness, because when you participate in something and you haven't been a part of something before, then you can see that the energy moved. The headache came up, the heartburn came up, the peace from the brother came up, and it was received by someone else. The dream state came up, and this is how I remember. And I don't know, Cleo, if you remember back in the church, someone would say something, and someone would say, "That's me. That was for me. That blessing is for me." And Jason is here, and he had this dream information. But the sister that talked about Louise Hay and Michael Beckwith, all of those things I have used. Now, Kyle Odom's telephone number is in the chat. Please take it down if you would like to contact her for a reading, a spiritual moment. And a number is missing, Kyle.
A number?
In the telephone number?
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Oops.
Dr. Randolph.
Or chat.
Dr. Randolph.
Yes.
Professor Raw had his hand up.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, I typed it in, but it's, yeah, I'll redo it. I'm sorry. Moving too fast.
Professor Raw, you on mute.
Okay, there it is. Her telephone number is 269-370-4913. So take the number down and you can contact her directly. And Professor Raw, go right ahead.
How much does the sessions cost?
Well, it depends on what you get. I do half an hour energy sessions for $75. An hour is $111. For readings, I have a different price structure, and it just depends on what you want. So it's all subjective with my readings. I usually start off, you just want a card reading, it's $40 for a half an hour. And a lot of times I do a combination where I'll do energy work on someone and then they'll have a reading also, which is what Dr. Shari had.
That's what I had.
When you say you can do it online, is the price the same online as it is in person?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So she's global. She can be contacted from anywhere. So I wanted everyone to know that.
Yes, and I've worked on people over the phone in Europe, in Africa, in India. You know, energy flows everywhere. There's no restrictions.
Okay, good to know.
Any final questions before we sign out and I pass it back to Rashiki?
Well, I just want to say thank you, everyone. It's been an honor. I always, it's grateful that people are open to let me work on them, or just be open to hear a different way of looking at life, because life is rich. You know, media tries to paint this picture like where the world we live in is so horrible, but it can be so much beauty. It's all about what we're going to choose to believe.
Yeah, that's what Louis Armstrong said. A wonderful world.
Yes, it's a wonderful world. And Brother
Yes, it
Rashiki,
is.
thank you for allowing me again to bring a host out to host tonight. And thank you, Kyle Odom, for sharing your talents, your gifts, and the blessings that you brought tonight. I believe everyone is very calm and peaceful all around. I believe everyone feels that energy. But this has been a rich evening, and I so appreciate Brother Rashiki and Professor Raw for allowing me to come on Community Education Network. And back to you, Brother Rashiki.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dr. Shari.
Thank
This
you.
whenever you come on, it's always wonderful. Always wonderful. And Miss Odom, excellent presentation, and
Thank you.
hopefully
Yes.
we get people to tap into what you're doing, because I know it's a great thing. So next week, I had a reggae artist scheduled for next week, and his reggae, in my opinion, is some of the best reggae I've ever heard. And I've been listening to reggae for 43 years straight.
Wow.
And I'm like a connoisseur. I love reggae. And he's in Jamaica now, and he's promoting his album that he has out. So he's not going to be the guest next week. Hopefully, I can get him some time in March. But I will have a guest next week, or we will do a community uh, news forum, community Black news forum, or something of that nature. And we're here every Tuesday and Wednesday. Professor Ra and historian Joe Hembrick is on Tuesdays, and the CEN show is on Wednesdays, like this evening. So everybody's welcome to come. And if you go to the Community Education Network, you always see what we have going. And so, Professor Ra, we have anybody lined up for next Tuesday?
Yeah, we're gonna have part 2 of Black History Month, the history, the relevance, and the benefits from celebrating it. Me and Brother Sharavo is going to be discussing the various forms of perspectives of Black History Month. But you're going to deal with Carter G. Woodson and the whole historiology of history, the science of history, and why we celebrate Black History Month, and how you translate that into homes and families so that they can teach their children. Primary education is your home. That's where you learn to walk and talk. So why not learn science and math? So it's a quantitative thing, and how to think and be disciplined. It's all part of our development. That's where we used to educate from our ancestral standpoint. It was the home. The home was the school, and the school was the universe. So we'll see. I hope some of y'all will tune in, but I know it's rough. You know, you got to have some time for yourself to self-heal, you know, and do some things. So, but if you can, it'd be a lively discussion. Every time we're on, we have lively discussion, just like tonight.
Well, all we got to do is get Dr. Randolph to show up. We're going to have a crowd. All right. So each one teach one, in Conscious Corner, we're going to take our pause. Have a good evening, everyone.
Yeah, you everybody too. Be
All right.
well.
Thank you.
Two- two-
Thank
two-
you.
two times.